In today's story, a pregnant woman discovers that her husband and his family have been secretly documenting her behavior in preparation for what happens after the baby is born. Before we begin, settle in and enjoy tonight's story. My mother-in-law started a group chat to prove I was unfit. My sister-in-law accidentally sent me a message that said, "Take the photograph before she clears the table." She deleted it almost immediately. I had already seen the name of the group chat above it, Baby Support Plan. I was 35 weeks pregnant and standing in the kitchen beside 3 unopened parcels, 2 mugs, and the remains of the lunch I had been too tired to finish. My husband, Luke, was upstairs painting the nursery. His mother had visited that morning. She had arrived without warning, inspected the fridge, asked why the baby clothes were not organized by size, and offered to take over our laundry. When I declined, she smiled and said, "You do make everything harder for yourself." Now Luke's sister wanted a photograph of the table before I cleared it. I typed. "What photograph?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. A minute later she replied, "Sorry, wrong chat." I called her. She did not answer. When I showed Luke the message, he looked at it for several seconds. Then he said, "Mum probably asked her to send a picture of something. Of our kitchen? I don't know." "What is baby support plan?" He turned back toward the stairs. I asked again. Luke sighed. "It's just a family chat. Why am I not in it? It's mostly about helping after the birth." "Then why are they photographing our table?" He said I was assuming the worst. That phrase had become common during my pregnancy. Whenever his mother overstepped, I was assuming the worst. When she booked herself into a hotel near the hospital for my due date, I was assuming the worst. When she referred to the spare room as my room when the baby arrives, I was assuming the worst. When she bought a second cot for her own house, I was being ungrateful. Patricia called herself a boy mum even though Luke was 33 and she had 2 daughters. She said mothers and sons had a bond women without sons could not understand. She still kept his childhood room intact. She rang him every morning before work and expected a second call in the evening. If he did not answer, she contacted me and asked whether something had happened. When Luke and I first moved in together, Patricia cried because he would no longer be 10 minutes away. When we became engaged, she joked that I was taking her place. When we married, she wore a pale dress that looked white in every photograph. Everyone described her as intense. Luke described her as loving. I had begun describing her as exhausting. I asked him to show me the group chat. He said that would invade everyone's privacy. "They are discussing me. They're discussing the baby without the baby's mother." Luke put down the paint roller. His face changed, not with surprise, with irritation. That was when I realized he was not merely aware of the chat. He was tired of hiding it. He unlocked his phone and handed it to me. The group contained Patricia, Luke, both of his sisters, his aunt, and 3 cousins. It had been created 4 months earlier. The first messages were harmless: meal rotas, gift ideas, recommendations for nappies and prams. Then Patricia began adding observations. Monday, she refused another visit. Wednesday, Luke cooked again after working all day. Friday, she became emotional over a discussion about the nursery. Saturday, house untidy, medication left beside sink. There were photographs, our hallway, our washing basket, a stack of unopened post, the inside of our fridge. A prescription box on my bedside table. Someone had photographed me asleep on the sofa. Patricia had written beneath it, "Sleeping during the afternoon again." Luke's aunt replied, "Could be low mood." His younger sister added, "Or normal pregnancy tiredness." Patricia responded, "We cannot assume either way. Just record facts." I looked at Luke. He stared at the floor. "How long have you been letting them do this? It isn't what it looks like." "What does it look like to you?" He said his mother had struggled badly after giving birth to him. She believed nobody noticed until she became seriously unwell. The family wanted to make sure I had support. I scrolled further. Patricia corrected people when their messages sounded too openly hostile. "Do not write that she is lazy. Write that Luke prepared dinner after a 10-hour shift while she remained upstairs. Do not say she is isolating him. Write the number of family invitations she declined. Do not speculate about her mental health. Record changes in behavior. The language was clinical. deliberate. There were entries about arguments between Luke and me, private arguments. One message said she accused Luke of choosing his mother over his wife. He apologized to calm her down. Only Luke could have supplied that information. I searched his name in the chat. He had written far more than I expected. She cried for 40 minutes after Mum suggested formula feeding. She says she does not want visitors for 14 days. She has asked me not to share appointment information. She checked my phone after Mum called. The messages were technically accurate. They were also stripped of everything that explained them. I had cried after Patricia told me breastfeeding was the first test of whether a woman was willing to sacrifice for her child. I wanted 2 weeks without visitors because Patricia had already created a rota involving 23 relatives. I asked Luke not to share appointment information after his mother arrived at a scan clinic without being invited. I checked his phone because Patricia had sent him 9 messages telling him I was controlling access to the baby. Luke had turned every consequence of her behavior into evidence about mine. My husband's family had photographed our kitchen, our laundry, my medication, and even me sleeping on the sofa. Then I searched his name in the group chat. He had been reporting our private arguments, my medical appointments, and every boundary I set with his mother. She was collecting the evidence, but my husband was supplying it. I handed back the phone. Luke immediately began explaining. His mother had asked him to note changes because pregnancy could affect mental health. He said he never called me unstable. He said he often defended me. I asked why he had never told me, because you would react exactly like this. The sentence sat between us. The group existed because I might react badly. My reaction now justified its existence. I asked whether anyone outside the family had seen the messages. He said no. Then his phone lit up. Patricia had written in the chat, "Has she found out?" Luke turned the screen away. I packed a bag and went to my sister's house. He followed me to the car and said leaving would make everything look worse. Not hurtful, not frightening, worse. As if my marriage had already become a report someone else would read. I stayed with my sister for 2 nights. During that time, Luke sent messages saying he wanted to talk. Patricia sent messages saying she understood I needed space. His aunt sent an article about prenatal anxiety. His older sister asked whether I was taking my medication. No one apologized. On the 3rd morning, my midwife called. She said a family member had raised concerns that I was isolating myself, refusing support, and becoming increasingly suspicious of people around me. The caller had also reported that I had left the marital home after an argument and might not be emotionally prepared for the birth. I asked who made the report. She could not tell me. I asked whether Luke had been contacted. There was a pause. Then she said he had already spoken to the clinic. I called him immediately. He admitted Patricia had encouraged him to speak to someone. He said he had not made a complaint. He had only asked for advice. What did you tell them? That you were stressed. What else? That you had left because you were secretly documenting me. I didn't explain the whole family situation. Then you made me sound unstable. I was worried. About me or about the report? Luke became defensive. He said the baby had to come first. That was another phrase Patricia used whenever she wanted to remove me from a decision involving my own pregnancy. I attended the clinic that afternoon with my sister. The midwife was professional and calm. She asked about sleep, medication, anxiety, my relationship, and whether I felt safe returning home. I showed her the group chat export. Luke had deleted it from his phone, but I had emailed several screenshots to myself before leaving. The midwife read the messages twice. Then she asked whether I wanted it noted that family members had been monitoring and photographing me without consent. I said yes. She documented that I had attended every appointment, followed medical advice, and shown no signs of being unable to care for myself. She also advised me to seek legal advice before the birth. That was when the situation stopped feeling like a family argument. I contacted a solicitor who specialized in family law. She read the screenshots and asked one question. What outcome do you think they are preparing for? I said Patricia wanted unrestricted access to the baby. The solicitor shook her head. Access is part of it. but she may also be preparing to become the default support person if your husband claims you cannot cope. I remembered the cot in Patricia's house, the hotel near the hospital, the planned visiting rota, the constant references to Luke being exhausted. Patricia was not building a case that I was dangerous. She was building a case that I was incapable. That distinction mattered. A dangerous mother could be challenged by professionals. An incapable mother could be surrounded by help until she had no authority left. I returned home while Luke was at work. I took my passport, medical records, laptop, and the folder containing our mortgage documents. Then I checked the nursery. Several drawers had been reorganized. Labels had been added to the baby clothes. New bottles were stacked in a cupboard. I had not bought them. Inside the wardrobe was a printed schedule. Week 1, Patricia staying overnight. Week 2, Patricia and Claire alternating. Week 3, review support needs. There was no discussion of whether I wanted anyone staying overnight. At the bottom, someone had written, Luke returns to work after 14 days. Mother must not be left unsupported. Mother, not my name, not wife, not daughter-in-law, a role with needs other people would define. Luke arrived while I was photographing the schedule. He said Patricia had created it as a suggestion. Why is it in our nursery? She dropped some things off. She has a key, he hesitated. We had changed the locks 6 months earlier after losing a set during renovation. Luke had given Patricia the new spare. I had not known. I asked for it back. He said demanding the key would create unnecessary conflict. I laughed. I could not help it. We were standing in a room where his mother had placed a timetable for managing me after birth, and Luke still thought conflict began when I objected. He said he wanted us to attend family counseling with Patricia. I said our marriage did not require his mother in the room. He replied that she was part of the problem, so she should be part of the solution. That was the moment I understood the real structure of our relationship. Luke did not see Patricia as outside our marriage. She was a permanent member whose approval he expected us to negotiate. I asked whether he had helped create the schedule. He denied it. Then I found an email printed beneath it. The subject line was transition plan. It had been sent from Luke's work account to Patricia. It included our expected discharge date, his paternity leave dates, my sister's work schedule, and a list of household tasks I had struggled with during pregnancy. Laundry, cooking, driving, managing appointments. At the bottom, Luke had written, if she becomes overwhelmed, we need to step in early rather than wait for permission. He had not merely tolerated Patricia's plan, he had designed it with her. In the nursery, I found a 3-week schedule showing when my mother-in-law would stay overnight and when other relatives would take over. Beneath it was an email from my husband listing every household task I had struggled with during pregnancy. His final line said, if she becomes overwhelmed, we need to step in early rather than wait for permission. Luke said he had been frightened. His colleague's wife had developed severe postnatal depression, and he did not want to miss warning signs. I asked why the plan required entering our house without permission. He said it did not. I asked why he gave Patricia a key. He said emergencies happened. I asked why he reported private arguments. He said context mattered. I asked why none of the context appeared in the group chat. He stopped answering, then he said something worse. I thought once the baby arrived, you would be grateful, not safe, not supported, grateful. He genuinely believed he and Patricia were building a system I would eventually accept because I would be too exhausted to resist it. I left again. This time, I did not tell him where I was staying. My solicitor advised me to communicate only in writing and to avoid making threats about contact or custody. Luke responded by asking me to come home before I turned the situation into something permanent. Patricia sent one message. A child needs a stable home, not a mother who runs away whenever she is challenged. I did not reply. For the next week, I prepared. I changed my hospital password. I removed Patricia from every emergency contact form. I gave the maternity unit copies of her photograph and written instructions that she was not authorized to visit. I opened a separate bank account. I arranged to stay with my sister after the birth. I also requested a full copy of my medical records. That request exposed the next part. A private health visitor had already written to my GP. The letter described family-observed patterns of withdrawal, emotional volatility, and resistance to practical support. It referred to a home assessment. I had never agreed to a home assessment. The health visitor's name was Sandra Bell. Patricia had mentioned Sandra several times as someone who had helped relatives. I contacted her office. Sandra said Luke had requested a private postnatal support consultation and had given permission for her to speak with Patricia because Patricia would be the primary family carer. I asked Sandra to send me the intake form. She hesitated but agreed after I confirmed I was the patient being discussed. The form had been completed online. It listed Luke as the father, Patricia as the principal support person. My sister was described as intermittently involved. Under concerns, someone had written, "Mother shows hostility when family attempts to assist. History of anxiety after pregnancy loss. May resist recommended separation for rest. Recommended separation." The phrase chilled me. I called Sandra again. She explained that in severe cases, family sometimes took overnight care temporarily while a mother recovered. No one had suggested removing the baby permanently, but the form requested pricing for residential postnatal support at Patricia's address. They planned for me to recover separately while the baby stayed in the nursery Patricia had built. I sent the form to my solicitor, then I sent it to Luke. He rang within minutes. He said he had never seen the residential section. He admitted Patricia completed most of the form while he answered questions over the phone. "You gave her authority to complete medical paperwork about me. I thought it was support planning. She listed her house as the baby's temporary residence. I didn't know. You made sure you didn't know." He said that was unfair. I said unfair was no longer relevant. My solicitor wrote to Sandra, my GP, and the maternity unit clarifying that I had not consented to the arrangement. Sandra withdrew the assessment and confirmed in writing that no home visit would occur. That should have ended the plan. Instead, it divided the family. Luke's younger sister, Claire, contacted me privately. She said Patricia had told everyone I was refusing treatment. I sent her the intake form. Claire called me 5 minutes later. She sounded sick. She admitted Patricia had asked her to visit our house after the birth and keep notes about whether I was feeding, sleeping, and allowing Luke to hold the baby. Claire believed it was intrusive but thought Luke had agreed because he was frightened. Then she told me the group chat had a second folder. Not inside the messaging app, a shared online drive. Patricia had asked family members to upload photographs and written statements there so nothing would be lost if messages were deleted. Claire still had access. She sent me the link. There were dozens of files, photographs, timelines, screenshots, draft letters. One document was titled Emergency Plan. It stated that if I became agitated or irrational after birth, Luke would take the baby to Patricia's house while family members encouraged me to accept medical help. Another document contained phrases Luke could use when speaking to professionals. "I am worried she may leave with the baby. I do not believe she understands how unwell she is. My mother can provide immediate safe accommodation." At the bottom was a checklist: hospital informed, car seat available, nursery prepared, solicitor number saved. They had reduced my possible distress after childbirth to an operational plan. Claire asked whether I wanted her to delete the files. I said no. I downloaded everything. Then I noticed the revision history. Luke had edited the emergency plan, not Patricia. He had added the line about me leaving with the baby. He had added his mother's address. He had added the solicitor's number. When I confronted him, he stopped denying his involvement. He said he had been afraid I would cut Patricia off completely. He said she had convinced him that restricting access was an early sign I intended to separate him from his family. He said the plan was meant to protect his relationship with the baby, not protect the baby, protect his relationship. The group chat was not created because he believed I was unfit. It was created because he believed any decision I made without Patricia's approval threatened him. He had accepted the idea that I might need to be managed before he accepted that his mother might need a boundary. That was the real betrayal. The shared family folder contained an emergency plan for taking my baby to my mother-in-law's house if I became agitated after the birth. I checked the revision history. My husband had added the solicitor's number, his mother's address, and a warning that I might leave with the baby. He had not been manipulated into silence. He had helped write the plan. I asked Luke whether he believed I was mentally unwell. He said no. I asked whether he believed I would harm the baby. He said no. I asked why he prepared to remove her from me. He said, because Mum said things can change quickly. That answer ended the marriage, not legally, not that day, but something essential stopped. Luke wanted to meet with both solicitors and create a written agreement before the birth. My solicitor advised against any agreement that treated Patricia as a decision-maker. Instead, we drafted a temporary parenting plan between Luke and me. It allowed him to attend the birth if I felt safe. It allowed him daily contact with the baby after discharge. It prohibited him from taking her to Patricia's house without my written consent. Luke refused to sign. He said he could not agree to exclude his mother indefinitely. I said the restriction was temporary. He said temporary restrictions became permanent. Again, Patricia's language. I told him he would not attend the birth. He accused me of proving the group chat right. I ended the call. Our daughter was born 9 days later. My sister was with me. Luke learned about the birth from my solicitor after we were both stable. He came to the hospital alone. Security checked his bag because Patricia had attempted to enter earlier that morning carrying a suitcase. She told reception she was my designated postnatal carer. The hospital removed her. Luke held our daughter for 20 minutes. He cried. He apologized. He said the group chat had become something he never intended. I asked what he had intended. He said he wanted a record proving he had tried to help. Even then, he was thinking about the record, not what the record had done to me. I did not return to our house. Luke remained there. We began formal separation proceedings 6 weeks later. Patricia told the family I had used the baby as leverage. She posted selected messages from our arguments and omitted the shared drive documents. Claire responded by sending the entire folder to every member of the group. Several relatives left immediately. Luke's aunt apologized. His older sister said Patricia had gone too far but continued visiting her. Claire gave a written statement confirming that Patricia had instructed relatives to photograph me and that Luke had participated. The safeguarding team reviewed the material. Their conclusion did not declare either of us unfit. It did something Patricia had not anticipated. It documented her behavior as a potential source of coercion and conflict. The recommendation was that Patricia should not provide unsupervised childcare while parental proceedings continued. Luke blamed me. He said I had turned his mother's support against her. I reminded him that the documents were written by them. The court proceedings were less dramatic than Patricia expected. There was no emergency transfer, no declaration that I was unstable, no immediate victory for either side. Luke received regular contact with our daughter. At first, visits were supervised because he refused to confirm that Patricia would not attend. Eventually, he agreed. 6 months later, he moved into a flat of his own, not Patricia's house. That was the first boundary he had ever maintained without asking permission. Our daughter now spends time with him several days each week. Patricia has no direct contact with me. I know she sees the baby occasionally during Luke's time. I do not like it. My solicitor says that unless there is evidence of direct risk, I cannot control every person he allows nearby. That is the ending people do not like. Patricia was exposed. She did not disappear. Luke betrayed me. He did not lose his daughter. I protected myself. I did not gain total control. Real family disputes rarely end with one perfect consequence. They become arrangements everyone has to live inside. The original group chat still exists. Claire sent me one final screenshot before leaving it. Patricia had renamed it, supporting Luke. The baby's name was no longer mentioned, neither was mine. The chat had returned to its real purpose. Keeping Luke at the center of Patricia's life and treating every woman around him as a threat. The last message was from Patricia. She wrote, "One day he will understand who never abandoned him." Luke had replied beneath it, "No one abandoned me. I made choices. It was the first honest thing he had written in the group. It came too late to save our marriage, but perhaps not too late to prevent our daughter from growing up believing love means surrendering every boundary.
You've been listening to Low Light Stories, original fiction for late-night listening. New stories are added regularly, so subscribe if you'd like to hear the next one. Thanks for listening.